Tell us where you think things are headed, given and where you think the Fed may or may come down, given sort of the cross currents we're seeing here.
So let me say it is impressive that we are in the green, given what is happening to the world. And we question that we have right now, Andrew, comes down to a very simple question. How resilient are we to the mess in China, to the mess in Europe? That's the key question. We know from Friday's report that the economy is resilient, but is it resilient to the headwinds we're going to face? Because China's having more lockdowns. Europe, you just talked about it with Nigel, is in a mess. They have now realized that they'll probably won't have much gas supplies during the winter, and they're not ready for that. So that is the main question for me. The market dealt with the tightening of monetary conditions, dealt with the Fed having to play catch-up. Now the question is dealing with the headwinds from the rest of the world.
But it sounds like you have a more negative outlook. Am I wrong? Is that what you're saying here?
No, I think, and I've been saying this over and over again, the U.S. will outperform other markets, other economies, and other currencies consistently. People who want to fade the U.S. in favor of other jurisdictions simply don't understand the extent to which the U.S. is more resilient, more agile than other parts of the world. So I think the U.S. will continue to outperform. What I'm not sure about is what the absolute level will be, given what's happening in the rest of the world.
How concerned should we be about the energy situation, and what's your outlook in that space?
So if you're sitting in Europe, you should be super concerned. And we're seeing government after government scrambling to try and protect households, protect industry, and they're doing it in a very uncoordinated fashion. And there's a real question mark as to whether there's enough fiscal space. Do you have enough fiscal flexibility to do everything that they want to do? And your discussion on the UK was illustrative of that. The US is a completely different spot. Oil prices are coming down. I don't think energy is going to be the short-term driver of inflation. There's still a big question about the energy transition, but in the short term, the drivers of inflation are going from energy and food to wages. That's what you got to keep your eyes on.
Hey, Mohamed, I don't know if you saw this article in the Wall Street Journal. We've all, for a very long time, this is a sort of broader issue, been talking about how China would soon overtake the United States on so many different metrics. But given everything that's going on in China right now, between lockdowns and all the other sort of uncertainties in that country, there's now a view that maybe the quote-unquote American empire may not be as challenged as we thought. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think this notion of the rise of the rest, and that somehow it's inevitable and that the U.S. will see its relative standing come down, I don't think that's the case. I think, if anything, the West is going to suffer quite a bit in the next 12 to 24 months. And the U.S. is in a good position to consolidate its gains. But a lot will depend on what we do domestically. But I think what today and the last few months have proven, and what I think the next few months will prove, is that the U.S. is in a much better place in terms of both resilience and agility.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.